What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about the Stringking Mark II-A lacrosse head, and it is my new favorite head. Let's go. Alright, so if you have been watching my channel for a while, you probably saw the Stringking Mark II-V and Stringking, I can't talk English. You probably saw the Stringking Mark II-V and Mark II-D reviews. So if you did, you understand what's going on with the 29 sidewalls, which the 2A has, the lock throat technology. I'm not sure if that's what they call it, but and the the bone density software that they use to reduce weight and increase strength. You've already heard all that stuff, so I'm not going to go over it. The difference in the three heads, I mean, there's quite a few differences. You know, the 2D is wider. It's a typical defensive head. The 2V is kind of just like right in the middle, designed for a mid pocket. The 2D is kind of designed more for a high pocket, and the 2A, as you can see from the rails, it's designed for a low pocket. Sit about right there. And the beauty is that they're not overly aggressive. So you have wiggle room in your pocket placements. Because I know, there are a lot of defenders who don't like a high pocket. So the 2D, you have some wiggle. You could go mid. You could put it anywhere, depending on your stringing. They're all very stringable pockets, which is a beautiful thing with all these holes. You can do anything. But if you are looking for an attack head and you're an attackman who prefers a low pocket, mid-low, low, this is the answer. If you're a midi, for the same reason you want a mid pocket or whatever, but the 2V you can put it anywhere. The point being is that you're not pigeonholed by these heads and their suggested pocket placements. So when I got this, I put in a mid-low, which is kind of what I prefer. But then I was like, wait, why am I doing that? This head is kind of designed for a low pocket, so I unstrung it, did a low, like a straight low, and then was like, well, now let me try something else. And I went really low. And I think I posted that on Instagram. And I was not a fan of that one. Not because of the head, but because of the pocket. It would just sit naturally there. Good for thumbing. If you go white gloves, white head, white ball, you can thumb all day long. No ref's going to see it. Don't cheat. So then I moved it again. And this is where I landed. Just a straight low pocket. And I love it. If you're a stringer that understands pocket placement and you can do it, any of these heads will take a pocket anywhere. Like I always played with, and this was back before modern pocket technology, modern mesh. There was mesh back then, but we all played with traditional anyway. I had a mid pocket. I was a midi, played with a mid pocket. But then in men's league, I don't know, before I hurt my foot and was playing men's league, I played attack. Or I tried to play attack. And I got to play attack quite a bit, but you're on a team with some 350 pounders, 400 pounder, whatever. It's 5'8", 360 pounds. That dude's playing attack. And so when you run out to the field and you jump in an attack spot and this guy waddles out and he's like, I gotta play attack, and he's winded from walking on the field, you give that guy attack and you go play some midi. So I was playing with a low pocket at midi. It was fine. But I prefer a mid pocket. So even though this is the 2A, I love the head shape. I love everything about this head. Even though it's designed for a low pocket, which I don't love, I put a low in there, but I actually have been playing with this for a couple weeks and I really like it. So maybe I am a low pocket guy. I really am a fan of this setup, of this pocket placement. Everything about it I'm loving. I used Red Star V2 mesh that I customized with some grippy, puffy paint in like a purple V. You might not be able to see it. Kind of goes up in a V. And it's nice. I mean, it's kind of it's a DIY, janky DIY of fire mesh, Fire Threads fire mesh. I got this idea from Stringer Shack. They posted something on Instagram about it, and it was a fun little project. But I also dyed a falcon on there. Kids high school mascot. Came out pretty clean. Again, I believe the warrant. I mentioned this in another video. I believe you can dye these heads without voiding the warranty, which is wonderful. So the flare is not overly aggressive, as you can tell. It's kind of a mellow flare. There's nothing overly aggressive or over the top about this head or its shape, but it's all around. Obviously it's got the Mark II scoop. You can't, due to the offset, you can't come in quite as high and hot as the 2D, but that's to be expected. Ground balls are way less of an issue at attack, or at least they should be. Attack, you should be catching the ball. Yep, you're gonna ride and you're gonna cause some turnovers, get some ground balls, obviously. Backing up shots that don't go all the way out, ground balls there, but you're not picking up ground balls from balls that are passed to you because you're not dropping the ball. I've always expected my attack to never drop the ball. So if you're an attackman and you're not 100%, hit the wall. Anyway, what was I even talking about? If I end up not sticking with the low pocket, I will go mid-low, which is, this will absolutely accept a mid-low pocket. But yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm a fan. I'm just a fan of all three of the Stringking heads and what they did to get here. And I really like the idea of companies coming out with a line of heads that covers the entire team, like having midi heads, having attack heads, having defense heads. I think that's great. I know that it's probably very expensive to do, and we've seen companies come out with the same head for different positions and just have it stiffer. We've also seen companies come out with different heads for each position, and they're under the same name, but they're vastly different. They can't even really be considered the same head. I like this. I like this technique. I can tell this is a 2V. I mean, I can tell this is a Mark II, just by looking at it, the stringing holes, the throat, everything. But it almost looks just like the 2D and the 2V until you have them in your hands and you really, oh yeah, that's obviously pocket placement, width, all the things that go into it. This head is 129 grams, so it's light. It is a light attack head, which I love. I love that. I mean, I like a light stick all around. That's why I've got this on a 135. It's a light shaft, but this, man, it's just amazing. I mean, they did such a good job. I really am excited to see the Mark III. Now I'm getting spoiled. It's like I want these guys to just keep doing what they're doing because they're going to keep improving, and they're really making the game better. It's got the same bottom string holes. This bottom string, this is similar to what Chris from Mainly Mesh does, I believe. And it's interesting with the way these bottom holes work, how wide apart these two are. But what's cool about this is that because they're wide and spread apart, when that ball sits low, it's cradled right there between those bottom string holes, between that shooting string, which is really nice. It just adds a little bit of hold. Obviously it's not going to sit there when you're cradling, like right on the throat. It's going to be there unless you stop cradling. Now what happens if you split dodge, and you do the split dodge down, kind of like through the legs, that ball bumps down, right? It's going to bump down and then back up as you come up cradling. So that little bottom string really lends itself nicely to the low pocket. This is a fantastic head, guys. I think they're 89 bucks. If you're not a stringer, I don't know. I haven't been on the Stringking website recently, but I know they offered the complete with the Mark 1, which seriously one of the best complete sticks you could get ever. I don't know if they offer completes with the new Mark II heads, but if they do and you're not a stringer, that's a great way to go because they definitely put pockets in their heads that are game ready. Really, really good pockets. So anyway, guys, I mean, there's not a lot further to say. It's like, I love this head. I love it. And I love the 2D. I love the 2V. It's so great that such a quality head has 3 positional options. I don't know if they're going to come out with a Mark II-G, but that would be pretty awesome. Kind of don't think so. Maybe the Mark III, they'll have a G head, which I'd like that. We're mid-season, at least out here in California. You guys on the East, I think you're just getting rolling. You need a new head, man. And you're an attackman, or a midi, or a defender. Check out the Mark II. They are solid heads, just absolute 100% quality. Can't beat them for the money. I mean, they have really hit the market, and they punched it straight in the jaw, because I'm sure some of the big boys are reeling. Like, wait a minute, Stringking, that's a mesh company? How are they killing us in sales? I don't know their sales. I don't know if they're killing anybody, but I have to assume they are, because quality sells, and these heads are of the highest quality. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I wish I had more to say about it. Just, being the 3rd video in the Mark II line, it's like I've kind of gone over everything, but I mean, I can't really express how much I love this head. And I really do. Fantastic. Good stuff. Thanks, Stringking, and keep doing what you're doing. Later.